Hopefully we're not gonna need this. Oh. My sister told me that she found out that soy sauce was made with human hairs. You heard that right, human hairs. There's a lot of food myth like this that kind of flies around and we never really research them, blindly believe them, and then just spread the words even more. So that's why I decided to look them up, 16 of them to be precise. Take all of this with a grain of salt because my source is Google. But I think I made a good job at extracting information. So in 2004, in the province of Hubei in China, a company discovered that human hairs contain amino acids, which is very similar to the one in soy sauce. So they decided they could just go from barbershop to barbershop, get the hairs, boil them to extract the amino acid out. A little bit of brown sugar, salt, coloring, and voila! You got soy sauce. Just the idea of a big tub full of hairs. It's so fucking disgusting, it's insane. Yes, it was in 2004 that happened for real. So obviously China has ordered a crackdown on domestic ingredients maker. The second one would be the single craft cheese, the American cheese. Somebody told me actually not too long ago, this kind of cheese contains plastic, that it's not real cheese. And I know they want to feed us a lot of shit, but straight up plastic, after looking it up, cheese contains a fair amount of casein. Casein is, in fact, plastic, but not the plastic you think. The casein plastic in pasteurized processed cheese is from the cheese. What is casein and is it bad for you? It's a protein in milk. Casein protein is likely safe for most people when taking by the mouth. I don't know how else you would take it. When milk is heated and combined with acid like vinegar, the casein molecule unfolds and reorganizes into a long chain. The chain of casein monomers is a polymer. The polymer can be scooped up and molded. Making plastic with milk has been used for over 100 years. And it's actually the way plastic was made before synthetic plastic was introduced in 1945. For some reason, a lot of baby foods have a high level of heavy metals like infant rice cereal, rice puff snacks, rice rusk, fruit juice, carrots, and sweet potato.
Testing reveals toxic heavy metals inside food we're feeding our babies.
Several products actually contain the same or even higher levels now than they did 5 years ago.
It's a little bit alarming. However, the brand I took to test, because of course I did my little testing, I didn't find any heavy metals in that one. That's kind of good, right? I don't know about you, but if I would find scrap of metals in my baby's food, maybe want to change brand, or maybe they would want to fix it. Have you ever heard of castoreum flavoring? Castoreum flavoring is common in many kind of foods, and it's from a secretion made by beavers. It's a sand sac located by their anus. There's many foods that uses castoreum. Baked goods, frozen dairy, chewing gum, candy, vanilla flavoring, raspberry flavored foods. Humans have been using castoreum for more than 2,000 years, mostly to cure ailments like headaches, earaches, toothaches, fever, and gout. The Romans burned castoreum in lamps, believing the fumes caused abortions. It has also been used extensively in perfumery to add a leather scent. People take castoreum still for anxiety, restless sleep, and as a calming agent. That's quite disgusting. No, maybe I was living under a rock or something. Gelatin for candies is made out of pig skin, pig bones, cow bones. Gummy bears, jello, marshmallow, Starburst chews, nerds. The list is absolutely endless. Next on the list is natural flavors are better than artificial flavors. And I started seeing that a lot. We use natural flavors. Most research shows that artificial flavoring is no more harmful than natural flavoring. And it's important to note that neither type of flavoring is regulated as strictly as consumer might think by the FDA. 80 to 90% of the natural flavoring has chemicals in them, like solvents and preservative. Propylene glycol found in antifreeze. The next one is not really food related. Well, it's after food related. When you flush your toilet, shit flies and pee flies. Where does it fly to? Well, on everything. It has about a 6 feet wide spray. And if your toothbrush is on the counter and not in a cupboard closed or a drawer, you are brushing your teeth with shit particles. Think about that next time you flush. Also, you can close the lid. Next one on the list, chicken. You know, on the packaging when you read no hormones or steroid has been given to those chicken ever. Well, there's actually a law by the FDA. They're not allowed to give hormones or steroid to chicken. They never did give chickens hormones or steroid. And if you look closer at the labels, they're actually obligated to write in a tiny, tiny asterisk at the end that this is an actual law, that they're not allowed to give that. They're writing something that's gonna make you wanna buy their product because you think that it's healthier when it's just the same as everybody else. They just write something that they're not allowed to do, but they tell you that they don't do it. Very confusing. The next myth I heard is commercial packaged grated cheese contains sawdust. Turns out that many of these cheese products contain cellulose, and it's a derivative of wood pulp or plant fibers used to stop clumping. It is FDA approved up to 4%. However, some of the most popular brands have been tested and proven to have up to 9%. Why don't you just buy a block of cheese and grate it yourself? It's not gonna take that much time and you're not gonna have that extra stuff that they put in it. Next one on the list. I heard that packaged ramen, the ramens were made in plastic. I've heard that many times. And again, I've never really researched it. So if you burn plastic, what will happen? It will melt, wouldn't it? It's actually burning pretty... Well, this is not melting. Let's try another piece. I mean, it burns well, but it's not melting. It doesn't smell like plastic. Staying in the subject of plastic, rice seems to be containing plastic as well. A study in the University of Queensland found out for every half a cup of rice people eat, they consume 3 to 4 milligrams of plastic, and the number jumps to 13 milligrams per serving for instant rice. And they say that to minimize the plastic consumption, you just wash your rice well before boiling. But how do I know if I'm eating plastic rice? Well, one of the trick is you take a handful and you set fire to it. And if it smells like plastic, don't do that at home. It doesn't smell like plastic. I think I have decent rice. Another trick you could do, put the rice in a pan, very hot pan with some oil, and if it all clunks together and melts at the bottom, there's plastic. Remember these things? One of my friends told me that there was like a controversy because they were found that there were a lot of pesticide in it. So when I looked it up, I found that there's a report that showed in 2024 that there's an unsafe level of glyphosate. It's a herbicide. That's how I see it. You're eating this stuff. The list of ingredients is absolutely insane. It can live on a shelf for years, months. This is not good for you. So bitching about pesticides in them, I don't know, might not. Instead you should stop eating that stuff altogether. But it got me thinking, is there anything that actually is without pesticides or chemicals? So it seems that there is. Avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, onions, papaya, sweet peas, frozen asparagus, honeydew melon, kiwi, cabbage, mushroom, mangoes, sweet potatoes, watermelons, and carrots. These are some of the foods that they don't use pesticide at all or just a little bit. So they are foods without pesticides. You just have to look for them. Let's see how a goldfish burns. Oh, wow. Don't do that at home. I'm a professional and I have an extinguisher right beside. Turns out goldfish are very flammable. This one you're not gonna believe. You know this thing helps lower cholesterol. But did you know that these things are actually an unapproved drug from the FDA? They look smaller than they used to be. Let's see if they burn. In 2009, the FDA contends that the following label claims make Cheerios an unapproved new drugs under FDA Act 505A. Oh, wow. Cheerios are flammable too. Because they indicate that the cereal is intended to prevent, mitigate, and treat high cholesterolemia. Although I couldn't find a follow-up on that story if they're now FDA approved or not. This is funny that at some point it was an unapproved drug because of that. And I find out also that in 2024, there was a class action lawsuit against General Mills because of their Cheerios. Dangerous levels of pesticide. Again, if you eat that, you can't complain that there's like crap. Okay, the last video I made about bad food or banned food in America, someone told me you should have lit a Pop-Tart because they're highly flammable. So I got Pop-Tarts again. And while researching it, they say that this part is the most flammable because they have corn syrup in it. So let's see. It's smoking a lot, but it's not doing much. Maybe they changed the recipe. Oh, we got a flame. We got a live flame. It's boiling. Nope, I find the goldfish to be more flammable than that. Well, there's our live flame. It's catching on fire. Yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't find it highly flammable. Yeah. But these ones, I hear they're highly flammable. I found out that the reason why they would be highly flammable is because they're made out of corn, and little did I know, corn is an amazing fire starter. It is a carbohydrate that burns well for fuel, even hotter than wood. This is insane. Let's try the Doritos. Look at that! That is crazy. Wait, I need to put that up. If it's in the house, I will heat it. So bad. The last one has nothing to do with food, but I found it very interesting. One thing I never liked, it's those cars plug-in chemical scent and those like oils and candles as well. Found out that scented candles, hair freshener, plug-ins makes 11 toxins that cigarette has. That's floating in your car or in your home. That's absolutely disgusting. If you know any facts like this, random facts on food, life in general, whatever is the subject, please write them down in the comments. I love researching the origin of those things and see if it's real. So if you have any, please share them with me. I'll make a part 2, 3, 4 of this video. I can't stop. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for the support. Like, subscribe, do all this thing. And I'll see you next week.